Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Den of Thieves 2, Pantera. This is a new film from 2025 with a runtime of 2 hours, 24 minutes. Rotten Tomato score, as of the recording of this video, 62% from the critics, 79% from the audience, and a letterbox average rating of 3.0 stars. This movie stars Gerard Butler, and it is a sequel to Den of Thieves from 2018, which we have a couple of videos on our channel. I have a full retro review from when I originally rewatched that film, and then we also have an overview of what happened in that first film in case you haven't seen it but you want to go watch this one. This film follows Gerard Butler and O'Shea Jackson as they return to the sequel of 2018's action heist hit Den of Thieves. Den of Thieves Pantera. Big Nick is back on the hunt in Europe and closing in on Donnie, who is embroiled in the treacherous and unpredictable world of diamond thieves and the infamous Panther Mafia, as they plot a massive heist of the world's largest diamond exchange. So, if you remember at the end of the last movie, there was a little bit of an exchange where Donnie was in a bar talking about like, oh, this is the world. You work at the World Diamond Exchange across the street or whatever, right? So we know that he was scoping out kind of maybe his next heist. They were kind of just preparing for it. So it was probably just an idea that they threw in for a little after credit scene. I don't think that they even imagined that Den of Thieves would get a sequel, but I enjoy the first one, and I enjoy this one as well. I don't think it's as good as the first one, and I'll talk about in a minute why. Because there's definitely a different vibe. So this movie, as I mentioned, stars Gerard Butler as Big Nick O'Brien. He's our sheriff's department that we follow. He's from the sheriff's department. We follow him as he continues to chase down from Los Angeles the character of Donnie, who is once again played by O'Shea Jackson Jr. We also have Yvonne Ahmad as Cleopatra or Giovanna. She has multiple names because of multiple code names. Salvatore Esposito as Slavko and Orly Shuka as Dragan. So we have really a brand new cast. There's maybe one character that comes back from the previous film, and it's kind of a character to move the plot along. So before I get started with my review, I've been going on Letterboxd and just trying to pick out a review that kind of speaks to my experience or something that I find funny or interesting. So this is a 3-star review by Matt. Sweaty Gerard Butler dancing and yelling, fuck NATO, while on ecstasy is such a vibe. This isn't really the high point of scumbag cinema that the first one was, but it's still certainly an entry nonetheless. Much more of a straightforward run-of-the-mill heist movie than it is another ripoff of Heat or The Town, which I guess sort of begs the question: is it better to be the lesser copy of something great, or something original yet average? One of those films, though, that has like 3 different endings, and I'm kind of in love with all of them. Not terrible. I had an alright time, and I'll forget it in about 2 weeks. So I don't feel exactly like Matt, but definitely highlights a lot of the things that I agree with. The first film to me felt like it was this propelled, action fueled heist film that was trying not to be a heist film. And one of the reveals is that this has all been kind of a heist, right? It's like it poses itself as like this brute force type of heist, while it's really a more elaborate heist than anybody might think of. If you remember the ending, where there's kind of a double cross and Donnie's a different character, so Donnie kind of planned everything from the get go. So that being said, I also had a great time. I think the movie's a little long because it has to. It's doing the purpose of it's trying to do 2 things. One, catch up the audience in case you've never seen Den of Thieves, to try to build out the relationship and who this character of Nick is, who the character of Donnie is. It has to reestablish the world, right? Because this is a whole new crew that Donnie's have to work with. And whereas in the first one, Donnie was, because we don't know the reveal that he's kind of the mastermind behind the whole thing. In this one, he starts at a very high level already, right? He's definitely part of the main crew, and definitely calling the shots. Although the crew that he's running with, this Pantera Mafia, which is really interesting. That whole aspect of it, and even why the movie would be called Pantera. That was one of the things that I went into, not knowing why. Um, but overall, although the story is a little bit convoluted, we spend a lot of time with Nick just trying to build that relationship with Donnie, which I think really works. But in the back of your head, you're always trying to think like, is Nick really? Because he's been down out in his luck. You know, he lost his family. He's in the middle of a divorce. There's a lot of things that are going bad in his life, and then losing this case, which everyone has told him, you've lost this case. There's nothing, nothing was stolen because the money that they picked, the money that they took was supposed to be untraceable. So even the sheriff's department, even the Fed, they don't have his back anymore because they don't want to admit that they were robbed. And they don't even know if they were robbed. That's the main thing, right? That's from the first film. So his life's not going well. So it's very believable that he would kind of give up and maybe think of a new way out, knowing how effective Donnie is at doing stuff like this. There's a lot of really cool action. There's a lot of very interesting shots, especially as they're infiltrating the building, because it is a secure place. There's a lot of security. Like the heist aspect of this, I think, is very entertaining. And I just really like the performances. Specifically, I'm a big fan of Gerard Butler. He's like an over the top action star, and I think that this character really lets him cut loose, and he takes advantage of that. Everyone else, I think it's fine. Like they fulfill the role, but they're not the big, you know, the big spotlight really is on Gerard Butler and O'Shea Jackson. As Matt mentioned in their review here, there's a few endings to this, and it feels like, in Lord of the Rings, where they have multiple things that happen at the end as they try to explain everything like this movie is a little bit like that. And I want to go back and rewatch it to see how much of that they were set up, or how much of that they just try to really kind of force the ending. So it's definitely not a perfect film, but it is definitely filled with action. It's got a lot of cool cars. It's got some really cool sequences of like just people fighting out. It's not as action packed as the first one. I think the first one has one of the coolest um, gunfire battles that I've seen on film in a little while. When they stop in between all the cars, and I think that's really good. And of course, uh, you know, Pablo Schreiber is just great in that role. But yeah, I think if anything, Nick needed a little bit more of an antagonist here. They set up a couple of people to fulfill that role, but I don't think they reached the level quite of that. Like even the authorities, or the Diamond Exchange, like everyone feels like they had to, instead of having one big foil for Nick, they had to bring in a bunch of little obstacles along the way for Nick and Donnie to overcome. But yeah, this movie's funnier than I thought too. Like I said, the chemistry between O'Shea Jackson and Gerard Butler. I hope they had a good time filming this, because it looked like they had a good time. It feels like they had a good time, and it's silly in some aspects, like just over the top and weird and goofy. But I like that combination of things in the movie. It gives me, it allows me to spend my disbelief a little bit easier, because I know that the film itself, although it's pretty serious, it doesn't take itself so serious in some aspects of it, and it leaves in a way that we could maybe revisit this world if needed in the future. I love a good heist movie. I'm a big fan of the Ocean's movies. So yeah, I can't wait to see where we go from here. But if you enjoy this film, let me know down in the comments. Or if you just watched it and have different thoughts, let me know as well. You can follow me on Letterboxd. You can find the link in the description of the video for my full thoughts on some other stuff, and just what I've been watching. So yeah, let's connect there. And of course, thank you for watching here. Make sure to share, like, subscribe, comment, all that fun YouTube stuff. And please stay tuned, because we have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, movie reviews, TV recaps, all that fun stuff in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.